Hello my friends, family, esteemed colleagues. In this video I want to address hemodialysis, kidneys in general. Lately I'm having a couple of clients that have been on hemodialysis for a while and decided to try to heal kidneys. And here I have to, of course it is very difficult. And now I want to explain why it is so difficult. Why do kidney fail? Majority kidney problems, doctors don't understand why they occur. It is one thing having accident, it's one thing having cancer, but it's one thing that when kidneys slowly start doing a poor job in cleansing the blood. Now, how do kidneys cleanse blood? Well, they have a little organelles called glomerulus, which you can call, it's like a nuclear reactor. It's a little round bag, and you have artery coming in. This artery is very, very small, arteriola. And then you have a vein coming out. There is a liquid, plasma, in this reactor. Here, blood comes out, and then what is toxic remains, or what body wants to eliminate remains, and the rest is being reabsorbed back. So mostly what glomerule does, it reabsorbs the plasma back. But then again, to eliminate, it needs a fair amount of this plasma to serve as a transporter for the toxic garbage. So we lose a lot of plasma through kidneys. They produce urine. Urine is 95%, 99% plasma, with a little bit of toxicity in there. Because capacity of cleansing is not really very strong. Excuse for this village radio. I cannot control this. So kidneys will waste a lot of plasma by eliminating small amount of garbage. Now, when there is a lack of plasma in the blood, then kidneys are being instructed to save plasma. And by saving the plasma, it means do not just eliminate every little piece of thing that comes in. Wait until more stuff gets filtered out, more concentrated toxin, and then eliminate. This makes urine smellier and darker. Very often, also, it is going to have a foam, because it's cleansing out even some of the proteins. Remnants of toxic elements that cells have released. A lot of these things which are being eliminated are acids, uric acids, urea, citric acid. And as the level of plasma in the blood diminishes, the program is adjusting the working of the body, and there is less urine being produced, and it's darker. Now, because of this, the toxicity in the blood increases, because there is simply not enough being taken out. And when the toxicity achieves the second level, it has the secondary cleansing organ, which is much stronger, but uses way more energy for cleansing. It's our mucosal tissue. And what do we notice? You may notice toxic breath, even smelling on urine. And you get diarrhea. Now, your blood still continues cleansing, but again, it cannot cleanse well because there is a lack of plasma. You need big amounts of plasma to do the cleansing, depending on, of course, how toxic you are. And then the third level, since even mucus needs a lot of liquid, then even this stops. You're actually going to constipation because the body cannot afford to waste any plasma. And then you cleanse through the skin, and the skin starts getting dark and smelly. Now, by holding the toxic elements in a kidney, the cells of a kidney become dehydrated faster, which starts creating problems of inflammation. But which cells are the most prone are the cells of arteries and vein, right there in the glomerule. So now we start having problem. Inflamed arteries and veins cannot really do the cleansing job. And we start experiencing problems. Now we blame this on high blood pressure. Yeah, because when you're inflamed, then there is a back pressure building up. And since a lot of blood is being filtered through kidneys, now you have a big back pressure going on, blood pressure of the body increases, the one that you measure. Now, we blame blood pressure to cause these problems. No, it's the toxicity that is causing these problems, including the blood pressure. Now the kidneys cannot cleanse well. They are not sick, they are toxic. And because of it, they get inflamed. Yes, inflammation is part of the problem, but inflammation is just a symptom of a toxic environment. Since body has a problem eliminating because it doesn't have enough plasma, and as long as toxins remain in a blood circulation, they are causing symptoms of toxic blood, blurred vision, inability to concentrate, foggy brain, sleeping problems, pain, headaches, muscle pain, joint pain, increased temperature, fever. These are all symptoms of toxic blood. To be able to work correctly, the toxicity has to be taken out of the blood, so the body can actually store it in a subcutaneous and in a tissue in the body in general, just to get it out of the circulation. Because as long as toxins are not in the blood, they pose little problem that we would see, because they're not strong toxins. This is something that body is creating, but most of it. But it is something that has to be filtered out. If it cannot be filtered out, it starts accumulating there. So the people are getting very toxic in the tissue. And because the cleansing and operation of this robot is strictly controlled by a variety of programs, then when the blood comes in a tissue, well, eventually only lymph seeps into the fine ending of a tissue where the blood vessels are too small to allow red blood cells to go in. So the lymph seeps in this area, and if toxins are deposited, the more deposits of toxin is there, then the lymph that comes already toxic now enters in more toxic area, and basically it's controlled by mechanism. It's not allowed to be returned into the bloodstream because the blood has to be clean. So the lymph does not really circulate well. And this starts causing water retention. We are being told, no, it's too much salt. You take salt out, you have no water retention. You take salt out, you diminish overall level of plasma. So yes, you will have maybe less plasma, but more toxic. So maybe you take out retention because there is no lymph there, but the tissue becomes all the time more and more toxic. So if you drink, doesn't matter what, water, tea, whatever, if a little bit extra plasma is being stored in circulation, it will get trapped in the toxic tissue because it becomes toxic, and now it's not allowed to go and cleanse out. And this is why elderly people who are, of course, more toxic, because toxic is cumulative problem, they start getting water retention. As the kidneys they do deteriorate because they get more inflamed, again mostly on a blood vessel level, and it happens through the body in general, but kidneys more specifically because more toxicity is concentrated there. So now the kidney cannot function well, mucosal tissue cannot function well because again there is not enough plasma, and we start noticing in analysis of the blood that there is more uric acid, there is more urea, creatinine rises because it's not cleansed out. So now we go to doctor to cleanse the blood through machine. Machine cleanses through membrane, and it does a very, very poor job. I don't know if it takes even 10% of the toxic stuff out. Basically, I don't know, some nitrogen and maybe creatinine, maybe some urea. But in general, what it takes out a lot is actually plasma. So it eliminates plasma, and we are saying, well, it has to eliminate the water because you are not urinating. Well, you are not urinating because you don't have enough plasma in the blood because it gets trapped in a toxic tissue. So you keep swelling, you don't urinate. And now, when you go to hemodialysis, then they are taking even more of this plasma out. So what happens? That after a relatively short time, maybe after a year, you are being instructed, well, not only don't have any salt, because that's from the get-go. You know, if you go on hemodialysis, you cannot have any salt in your food, because then, of course, you will not be able to hold plasma, so hold water. So you will have less swelling, and for them, this is the point of a doctor. So you don't have water retention, you don't have swelling of the organs. You have to get out. You have to cleanse the blood. But they're not cleansing the blood, they're eliminating plasma. And of course, this minimizes level of plasma in the body. You cannot have much of a retention when you don't have any plasma there. But what happens is that kidneys perform less and less. And because there is no salt, because the hemodialysis takes it out. So now what happens is that if you drink water, since there are no minerals left, you will urinate them. And your urine will be clear because you are not cleansing anything. You're just eliminating water that body cannot turn into plasma and use. And people are very happy with this, and doctors are very happy. Well, you're urinating, everything is fine. But what is the average lifespan of people when they start with hemodialysis? 3 years. Some live longer, some live shorter, but 3 years. Now, why is that? Because through hemodialysis, you have accelerated elimination of your plasma. And soon, because the toxicity is becoming so bad in the tissue that basically all the lymph that goes there gets stuck, because it becomes very toxic, is not allowed to go out into the blood, then you stop urinating. As you urinate less and less, now doctors start instructing you, well, look, you cannot even have water because it stays in your tissue. You are swelling up. This is because your kidneys are not working. Well, kidneys are not working because there is no plasma in the blood. Plasma is not in the blood because it's stuck in a toxic tissue. And through hemodialysis, you are not cleansing the tissue. You are just depriving blood of more plasma. So ultimately, you will be forbidden to drink water at all. But you cannot drink water because whatever you drink, it stays in your tissue. You blow up. This is no-win situation. So yes, if you start slowly hydrating, you can start reversing the process, but it's a huge problem. It's better start hydrating before you go on dialysis. Because, as I have explained, as soon as you go on blood dialysis, your toxicity of your tissue starts increasing tremendously and rapidly. And doctors think, well, kidney is not working, you are dying because there's nothing to cleanse your blood. Well, you have mucosal tissue and you have skin that do the cleansing. It is necessary to bring some plasma into the body. Now, the thing is that what would be much better than using dialysis is bleeding once a month. Just let some of the toxic blood out, because then all the toxins are out and body will rebuild fresh blood. I explained. Well, people say, well, this is going to kill you because, I received a comment of one of my followers that follows my discoveries. And he says, well, I went to give blood and 3 minutes into the process I fainted because my blood sugar went down because of... None of it. A woman doesn't faint when they have menstruation and they're losing blood. It is your conscious mind. Some people, just the idea that they are losing blood, they faint. You have people that cut themselves a little bit, they see the blood, they faint. And you have people that lose a leg, they are bleeding profusely, and they are trying the best to tie this leg with a belt so it stops bleeding, and they try to survive. They are not fainting. You don't faint because you eliminated some blood. It's psychological stuff. But on dialysis, yeah, you may get cramps. Why? They eliminated salt. So electroconductivity is bad. Because of this, you also faint, because no electroconductivity. Well, no, it's reduced. So your body doesn't work well because you eliminated plasma. Or in already very dehydrated body. So by bleeding, you will achieve much, much better results. It's like women menstruating. This is why women are healthier and live longer because they menstruate. But the moment they stop menstruating, the toxicity starts accumulating and the body feels it. We call it menopause problems. Well, it's not menopause problems. Well, yes, it is because you are not bleeding anymore, but it's because of toxicity. And you can avoid it by drinking plasma and allowing body to cleanse and through kidneys. So it doesn't have to cleanse by letting blood out. Now, since most of the toxicity is really in subcutaneous tissue, before, healers, doctors were healers. Now doctors are 007 agents. But before they were healers. So they would take leeches. They put leech because leeches will take the blood from, suck the subcutaneous liquid. And they would suck all the poisons out. Or they would do cupping. Glass cups or porcelain cups, they would heat them up and then put them on the skin. And then as the air cools down, it makes suction. And they would suck through the skin the subcutaneous toxic liquid. These are fabulous things that are absolutely necessary in dialysis. I have noticed this because the body simply cannot, the amount of plasma necessary for the blood to be cleansed will get stuck in a toxic tissue and blows people up. It doesn't go back into circulation. And more plasma they drink, the more they blow up. So here we have to do combination. And combination is, number one, don't go to stupid dialysis machine, but find a doctor that will bleed you. Unfortunately, they are not allowed to do that because they are 007s. They have license to kill. They are instructed to kill you. And this is all these things that doctors do are actually deteriorating your health. The only good thing about doctors is emergency, because they can stabilize the body quickly. But stabilize it and healing is completely two different things. You cannot stabilize toxic body. You have to cleanse it. So, again, unfortunately, there is no book about these things. So I'm discovering things step by step. I helped many people with kidney problems just simply through protocol. But once when doctors get hold of people, the toxicity of their bodies starts increasing rapidly. And these things are happening, that more toxicity is in a tissue, trapping plasma, which is not allowed to enter the blood circulation because blood actually is depositing these things in a tissue because it has to remain clean and it cannot eliminate. So if you decide that you want to give it a shot and you are on dialysis, understand, the longer you have been on dialysis, the more toxic is your tissue. And whenever you start increasing plasma, it is going to be trapped in there. And your body is going to ask for more plasma, and you will not be able to urinate because it's being trapped in a tissue. So, unless you have access to a healer that can help you with the cupping, bleeding, and leeches, I see that it is very, very difficult to make any improvement once when you are already on dialysis. Before dialysis, you still have a chance. It is going to be difficult because you will be swelling, you will have water retention because your body is highly toxic, but it is not nearly as toxic as it rapidly becomes once when you start using the blood dialysis. And being medicated, of course. Medication has to go. So it is a very tricky situation, and I'm really sorry. I feel bad that I cannot help better than this. I am not a healer, I am a teacher. And I'm empowering people to understand how their body works, as I'm learning myself. The only thing is that I'm not learning from crooked books. I'm learning directly through the source, through Father, Creator. It's a gradual, slow process because I was misguided through medical science, and I had to flip my brain around. It was not easy. But it's getting easier and easier because the simplicity of it all is being revealed. Unfortunately, the programming is there, so it's very tough to work with these programs that are embedded in our brain, then run these things. So This is for people that have a kidney problems. If you are not on dialysis, you can start. It's not going to be comfortable, but you can start healing your body. If you're on blood dialysis, think twice before you start and understand that without having option of healer that will help you by bleeding or leeches or cupping, I don't think that you will be able to just cleanse using the protocol. As I always explain, I'm still learning. Now, if you started and now all of a sudden you cannot urinate because the body is now absorbing, well, drink a little bit distilled water. Distilled water cannot be held. It will eliminate some of the salt. And you will start urinating again, if urinating is what you want to do. You know, we think that because we are urinating, everything is fine and dandy. It is not so. Because you are not cleansing. You are eliminating surplus of water that you cannot bond to minerals. So, if you cannot urinate, or you urinate poorly and you drink distilled water, you will urinate better, but clear urine, which is not really cleansing you. You just eliminate water that you are drinking and you cannot hold, because you cannot turn it into plasma. There are no minerals left. And dialysis machines deprive you of plasma even more, because they take the salt out, which is the real big no-no in a process. I hope that I have explained the problem with kidneys and dialysis. Ask your doctors to please, instead of do dialysis, to bleed you. You can do it every month, once a month, like women menstruate. Men cannot menstruate, so let doctor help you to get some of your toxic blood out, and your body will replenish the blood elements, erythrocytes and leukocytes and platelets, whatever you have lost. Body will replenish because it's calibrated to have certain level of each cell. It will take it less than a week to do so, 2-3 days. And if you are bleeding yourself, then you can take a little bit of plasma. Don't take water, but water with a little bit of salt, not like regular plasma that I recommend to people for cleansing and healing, but a little, like, little bit salt in the mouth and drink water, or like a quarter teaspoon per liter of water, just add. So you can slowly start cleansing and hydrating. But again, very important, if you can find healer and do the leeches or cupping to help with this, that will be perfect. Thank you for listening. Love you all. And see you next video. God bless you. Namaste.